Yeah, I gotta say, this is gonna be interesting. Young Kellen, how are you?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
I like that we're both in well, just so everybody knows, we're recording live for the first time, remote in two-person remote in Bardstown, Kentucky, where now Kellen, master distiller, is working
Uh,
at do you want me to say where you're working?
you can say where I'm working, but I'm not a master distiller.
At Heaven Hill Distilleries now in Kentucky. Moved out of the Pacific Northwest, out of Bellingham specifically, the jewel of the Pacific Northwest. And now we're down in Bardstown, which I gotta say, I've seen quite a bit of it. It's very homey feeling, very bourbon centric, which is fine, but a lot of history I didn't know about.
Yeah, most definitely. And me, starting my new career here, which I just did recently, um, kind of brought about the subject I want to talk with you about in this episode I've been wanting to do for a while now, which I guess will be kind of given away in the title, as I would imagine.
Yeah, whatever we decide the title is, but you're flipping the script today. You're putting me on the hot seat.
That's right. Me, Kellen, who have been on the show before. I'm not going by Mitch Jr. because you know who I am, and I don't need an alias. Not my first time on the show, but I decided it might be beneficial for me to learn a little bit more about Mitch and for the listeners and potentially viewers to learn a little bit more about Mitch as well, the man behind the microphone. So I'll be asking some questions. We'll be doing some back and forth and a general discussion about Mitch's work, career, lifetime achievements,
Oh,
record.
illustrious, which is when my recent work career has come to a close, right?
Yeah, safe to say, right now, officially, can I say the R word?
Fire away.
Retired.
Oh, yeah. I decided to retire back in June, which as of this recording is about 4 months ago, maybe five, I don't know, 4 or 5. But but yeah, I was telling Kellen I was doing the math this morning because I started thinking about it before I did it, and I'm thinking between the last two jobs, the longest ones I've had, it's been 25 years. It's been quite a while, but I've kind of forgot about the 17 years before those. So it's been about 42 freaking years.
Just a bit. So yeah, to get it kicked off, if you're comfortable with going through it, I was wondering if you could let the people know a little history of your employment,
Hmm.
mostly as an adult. I don't know what child labor laws were like way back then.
Yeah, let's pretend they existed back
A
in those
little
days.
different in the Illinois coal mines, but yeah, if you want to
Yeah.
run through a little bit of kind of your career path and
Yeah, well,
yeah,
that'd be interesting first if I had a career path. I mean,
well,
because honestly, like
a job path.
I've thought about it, and it's like, I've done what I needed to do based on the roles I was at the time. Like, for example, when I was in high school, all I needed was a job to make money, buy a car, save some money for college. Pretty simple stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I think, well, we'll keep it there. We'll keep it in high school. I worked at primarily Monty's Riverside Inn, where I started as a I guess, bus person. Then I moved to be, brace yourself, a dishwasher. So there was some career progression there. But had some jobs after that, including, I worked for, oh gosh, Sierra Dodge. It was an automobile dealership. Here's the
I
story about
didn't
some.
know that.
Yeah,
That's right.
my brother, my older brother, he decided he wanted to quit his job, and I had just turned 16, and I was like, "You want to quit that sweet job?" So I went. He's like, "Yeah, and in fact, I need you to go over and pick up my last paycheck." I said, "I don't. As long as you let me use your Monte Carlo, I'll do it." And he's like, "That's fine." And I dropped the hammer on that bad boy. It was a nice Monte Carlo. I was burning black, I was burning smoke off them tires all the way over 7 miles. But I came in to get his last check, and the owner of the place, Bill Walsh, he's like, "Well, here it is. And by the way, do you want the job?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah,
So
we just got an opening, if you believe it.
yeah, so that's how I got that job. But after high school, it was all the first 3 years I went into college. Junior college at IVCC, then college at Illinois State. So it was just like jobs to keep me going through college. I had grants because my parents I had 37 kids and they were divorced, so that was great. I looked good, could like look very needy. So I got grants and I had a little money that I saved and I borrowed some from my dad, just enough to get through. So that's what that was. And then after I got out of college. This will date me right now. I had to leave college because Ronald Reagan canceled my grants. Uh, back in the middle 80s, the early 80s. So I came back to Illinois, took up residence in my old bedroom back at the casa at my parents' house until like I was age 20, 21, because I had met a nice girl and I had got a, I was basically just doing jobs like whatever it took. I was doing drywall. I was helping people rebuild, Snug Harbor Marina. That's another thing. Like that's how
Yeah.
I kind of fell into jobs because, once we got done building the marina, they're like, "Hey, you want to work here?" Well, okay, let's do
No,
it.
it is built.
Yeah. So that's bartending into that. And then I came into a job at some place called Red Wing Foods, which was over in Streeter. Well, I better shorten this up a little bit. Let's just say Red Wing Foods for a while. General Railroad for a while, where I was like, uh, started cleaning the pissers. You got to do what you got to do, folks. But then they're like, again, you want a job? They're like, stop cleaning the pissers. We need you to run the crane. Like, okay, let's go run a 50-ton bridge crane.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, it'll come to you. Don't worry about it.
Oh, buff.
But I finished that career. I was in the process of knocking off what was left of my bachelor's degree remotely, going to Illinois State as well, doing the marriage thing with two kids. That's how Kellen came along. Um, into the 90s, I was working at Red Wing on the midnight shift.
Mm.
And then we bought a restaurant. So I left the midnight shift after a while. It looked like the restaurant was going to be established. We had that project going until the late 90s when unfortunately my wife and I parted ways and the boys and I started living together and out in the country in Utica where I went back to bartending at a different place to make some money until I could get into a factory job so I could get regular hours. Now we're into like the year 2000, regular hours, insurance to support myself and the boys. And that just continued into 2000 when I got hired by Caterpillar.
Well, it
Uh,
was a little speed bump, but
oh,
you got
well, okay, yeah, there's,
where you died for.
yeah,
Well,
okay,
we can get back to that later, but yeah,
yeah, true story. I was working at a farmer's factory company up in north central Illinois.
lawsuit settled. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think statute of limitations is up,
Yeah,
but
check
yeah,
that.
there was a work-related incident. It was company negligence. It was, and I accidentally got killed a little bit when a piece of steel broke instead of bending, caught me in the jaw. So it life flighted me out to northern, I think, not Deca not Rock Island, but it might have been Rock Island. But at their trauma center, they're like, he's messed up. We can't put him together. So they flew me to the University of Wisconsin Medical Center, where they put me together, and that's fine. And it took me 3 months to heal, starting in January of 2000. And in April of 2000, because I had applied to Caterpillar in December of the previous year, Caterpillar called and they said, "You want to do an interview?" And by then I weighed like 114 pounds and I was 6'3". So I was like, yeah, I bet they're going to want me.
Just a quick aside, when you got back from the hospital, I want to just make a note that when my brother saw you, he passed out into a pile of shoes.
Out cold.
And just, all right, I'll let you get back to
Yeah, well, I
it.
probably look like Frankenstein because I was wired shut, and like I said, I lost a lot of weight over 3 days being out cold in the Wisconsin hospital. And true story, the thing that woke me out of my coma after 3.5 days was they pulled the catheter out of my tweeter, and and
Like
that
starting a lawnmower.
that shocked me awake. And I remember when they released me from the hospital, the Vikings, which I'm a fan of, were beating the piss out of the Green Bay Packers. There, that's that story. So now we're into Caterpillar, and I'll keep that story short as I can because that was 16 years of my career at Caterpillar. And I'm grateful for it. Loved Cat. Uh, I was started off working on the actual shop floor, and after 3 years, I was lucky enough to be one of three people they picked to be promoted to the manufacturing engineering program to try to pilot that process. And one of the three quit, I think about a month and a half after that, but the other guy, he did well. I stayed with Cat. I was promoted again, a couple of promotions. In 2012, they asked me to be a senior manufacturing engineer. I moved to Virginia to help consolidate a company that they had just acquired. So I moved to Virginia. And after that, they decided to consolidate again. So I moved up to Pittsburgh. And when I was in Pittsburgh, I got contacted by a tech company who shall remain nameless for now because I'm not sure if the statute of limitations is up
Good to
yet.
know because I would have probably
But,
said her name, but yeah.
they recruited me out of CAT for the NPI process and to work in deployment of robots around the country, which I did for 5 years, 4.5 years. And they actually made me a manager of a team that did it as well. So for the last 5.5 years of my career with that tech company, I was managing a tech deployment team, traveling around the country far too much, far too much. I probably had 400 flights in the last 9.5 years. But and that's a true story. And I was a technical infrastructure program manager when I decided to leave. That was enough of the pressure cooker that is tech for a while. It looked like I had finances enough to do it, and And here we are now. That was a pretty quick story.
I mean, that's probably as quick as you could possibly wrap up 42 years of
Yeah, sorry.
maybe more careers than maybe or more positions, jobs than I realized. I mean, I knew a good bit of it, but some of the stuff when I was young, I didn't really realize, I guess. But
Yeah.
Monty's was an Ottawa, Illinois staple. Unfortunately, it's no longer there.
It's a
Uh,
Mexican restaurant now,
it
yeah.
is, yeah, which might be good. I haven't been there yet. I know you got a pretty good story about starting bartending at Snug Harbor, but we can, that's, another podcast because I got some questions I want to get into with you.
Ooh, fire away.
Okay, so we went through the whole thing, and honestly, that makes my kind of career path so far seem pretty streamlined and simple.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you think you're going to be a firefighter or a doctor or anything. So did your life of working, being an industrious man, is that kind of how you expected it to end up, or did it go the way you planned, or just everything just kind of came together the way it did, and that's how it worked out?
I'll be honest. I mean, like I say, it's well, I started off, I wanted to be okay, I'll be honest with you. When I started like figuring out career path, I wanted the ones to make the most money, had some good prestige,
Smart, good idea.
like everybody does. I was thinking lawyer. I was thinking when I went to Illinois Valley Community College as to start, I dug up there. They finally had a computer, which was kind of new in
Whoa.
1980, 81. Yeah, and I looked it up. It was chemical engineer
Whoa.
was the highest paid job. I'm like, there you go. That's what I want to do, chemical engineer.
Should be easy.
But then at some point, my mom found a copy of my dad's will that he had made up that he didn't know about. And in the will, it said he wants one of his sons to be a chiropractor like he was. I was like, damn it. All right, I'll be a chiropractor. As smart as I was, not realizing my older brother saw the same information. He was 4 years ahead of me in college. He actually is and still is a successful chiropractor, but I was double majoring in biology and chemistry with that pursuit, not because I'm smart, it's because I couldn't decide which one I wanted better. And in the end, it was chemistry, by the way. But so then when I was down at Illinois State, sitting around with my friends, I remember in the student lounge on a Saturday, and they said, Mitch, you do realize when you become a chiropractor, every day of your life, you're going to touch old people. And I was, and I was like, oh, I didn't think about that.
Some people a plus, for you, not so much.
And it's not true because then, after that, after I decided I get different career path, and as that time, like my grants got cut anyway, I would go, talk to my dad now and again in his office, and he almost always had take it how you want it, but hot women in there who were like physically fit, in the 80s, like with Olivia Newton-John doing all that stuff with I want to be
All I'm saying,
fit.
if you have some weight on the top front end, it might mess your back up a bit. So you might have missed an opportunity
Yeah,
like that.
I might, but still,
To
I
each
mean,
their own.
you'd want to be
I'm
as,
happy for Uncle Greg. Everybody's doing.
yeah, I am too. And you don't want to, it's not a creepy profession. Like I'm not there just to feel up people, but I wouldn't have to touch open. It wouldn't been, I think it would have
I'd
been a
rather touch
productive thing.
tractors or Caterpillar all day long than touch
Yeah, yeah, that's
some old vertebrae.
I really did enjoy the 16 years of cat. But yeah, so I never really had. I mean, that's why I envy yourself because you've got a goal and you're chasing it and you've set up milestones and you're knocking them down very well. And
For now, oh yeah, I don't know. If I had any of the chemical engineering smarts, which the apple fell way far from the tree, I'd be doing a lot better. But smart in some things that just apparently didn't translate.
but yeah, like I said, it seems like I went roll by roll. What I needed to do, I did. And this just came to me a couple of days ago when we started talking about this. So, like I say, my role in high school was make enough money to get a car, keep the car running, save some for college,
Yeah.
go out with girls.
Oh yeah.
And then like after college, then it was like, oh my God, I got to scramble because I had no money because Reagan cut all my grants. I was planning on graduating. But so then I had to go to work. And then I met your mother, and then it became, oh boy, you better hustle now and make enough money because you're going to be a husband. And I knew I was going to have two kids soon, not because of anything in particular. It's just like I've had a vibe about two things clearly in my life. I knew I would be at age 26, I would be married with two kids. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I defend that to this day. I still had that vibe.
Nice.
And I've got one more I'll tell you sometime, but that still has yet to be realized. But so to be a father with two kids, you have to start bringing in income. So that's when I got over to Red Wing Foods and a regular job.
For sure. And I was also a semi-professional dishwasher in high school because I needed to put gas in the tank of my car and go out with girls.
See, there you
When you
go.
drive a 85 SS El Camino, neither were very cheap. So we kind of went through, your history, and we talk all the time. You send me, jobs that you have applied for and stuff like that. We've talked when you were
Yeah.
transitioning from Caterpillar. I was just wondering, what's a job that you applied for, and or maybe even didn't apply for, but just something you wish you would have had the ability to do, or just didn't get hired for.
Yeah, I don't want to admit to Cat, but like you say, the statute of limitations is done. But after they promoted me down to Virginia, I applied for a job with Rolls-Royce in Norway,
Yeah, I remember that.
and it would have been sick because I remember coming home like uh, take a half a day of work from Cats because I had to go home because I had an interview with Rolls-Royce, and it was a virtual interview, and I had gotten the job, and then they were going to ready to make me an offer in December. And they said, we'll get back with you when it's, all this stuff. And then the first of the year came by. They're like, hey, guess what? First of the year, we can't hire expats anymore. Like, damn it.
Oh,
So that's one. But really, I mean, I loved what we did at CAT, but recently I've been thinking about uh, outer space jobs because they're back now and they're more
yeah.
prevalent. And I have applied to a couple at Blue Origin and a couple at SpaceX, which are in my home state of Texas. So I wouldn't have to travel that far. I wouldn't even maybe have to sell my condo to work there. But I just think it would be, pardon my French, because I know you've got sensitive ears as a retired Marine, uh, badass. Because you pull into a parking lot every day, you see like a 200-story or 200-foot tall rocket, and you're like, "Yep, that's what I'm working on today." So even at my age, my exaggerated age of 63, I
Right.
would still gladly do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, the grain silos we have at Heaven Hill almost look like rockets. They're pretty big, but after I got out from the Marines, I tried to join the Space Force, just because I thought it was kind of funny. I wanted to be Space Captain Cowan and moonwalk at the Space Force ball,
Of course.
but that didn't pan out. So here I am, distilling.
And I'll tell you, when you left for the Marines, I always, because I when I was young, or like in high school, or like eighth grade into high school, I wanted to join the military. Because I mentioned for me at that time it was the Army, and we weren't that far from removed from Vietnam and from Korea, so I can still understand the stigma. And my parents are like, nope. And like I say,
Understandable.
with my dad as a chiropractor, they wouldn't even let me play football or anything dangerous like that kind of thing. I'm not blaming them. That's just how they chose to guide me. But after you went to the Marines, I did look at joining the military again. I think I was 49 years
Yeah,
old.
you're a little past that. I
Yeah.
think it's 38. It's like the max.
Well, the Army, I think at the time was 42.
Global War and Terror were good times. Yeah, that probably was a little
Yeah.
bit older.
So that is one, but I envy you. I hope I didn't impress upon you your decision to join the Marines, but I'm glad you did.
I really want to get out of Illinois. That was one of the reasons, and they surely did it.
Yes, sirree.
All right, I'm gonna get on to some, a little less deep maybe questions, but
Good.
I'm getting into a different schedule than I've ever worked here. And it's more of like it's a manufacturing environment. They work some shift schedules that are kind of different. I'm just wondering, what would you consider your favorite or best schedule that you've worked?
Oh God, I don't know. I guess if you could compare it. I don't know if this will give me another question. I hope I don't burn you up,
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
I guess compared to my worst schedules. Like the worst schedule I had was 3 months working midnight shift. I think I told you at a an explosives facility over in Seneca, and I didn't realize that it was like dangerous and the midnight shift because I needed money and I was going to do what I needed to get money. But
Midnight shift at the bomb factory seems kind of
but
tough, but
if by general like if you say it like that, yeah.
yeah,
But
not in a literal sense, but sure.
because I remember coming home, like, over the weekend, we would have a fire in the backyard, like, and I would wear my boots that I wore to work, and I would sit with my feet by the fire getting warm, and my boots would crackle like spark. I'm like, well, you probably should. But I think the worst shift ever, and again, I did it, but it was a great experience, was this is going to be by title two, you understand, production supervisor on the peanut butter production line on the midnight shift. Yeah, that's
Oh,
watching jars of
grinding
beige
the midnight
go
peanut butter.
by, beige, 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 all night long.
Hypnotic.
Yeah, and I did that for quite, in fact, that might surprise you. That's the job I decided to leave to open the restaurant. So it wasn't a bit of a tough choice.
Understandable. Personally, I love 410s. I've done that at a couple of distilleries. You bang out 4 days, you got enough time to cook dinner, go to the gym, and then you have a 3-day weekend. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, because after that, my shifts were all, based on when you're in manufacturing or if you're in the tech industry, it's like you put in the hours you need to get the job done, especially as a manager. You're 24/7 as a manager. So that's basically the hours I had for about 20, 15, 20 years. So I didn't mind it. I didn't, you do
Yeah.
what you got to do. And I was glad to be part of a bigger initiative, both the CAD and the tech industry.
I think I have a couple in mind, and this kind of ties into maybe your midnight shifts. What felt like the maybe like the longest day at work you've ever had? It just seemed like it was never gonna end. It kept dragging.
Hands down. I can tell you hands down because I saw this earlier and I didn't read these questions, but it's when we launched a new model tractor at Caterpillar. It was the 993K, brand new. It was big. I mean, we had governors and presidents coming to town and news from Chicago, Illinois, because that factory was in the suburbs of Chicago. They came to film the launch, and I had worked my ass off. And you guys want to see a little more detail? This is also in Mitch Wonders' book on Amazon.com. Look for Life's Tough, Be Tougher. This is one of the stories I told you about because this day, because it was like a cold day, and it was like I was just beat dead dog tired. We were doing like 14-hour days for like a month straight, and just because we knew how important it was, and we were the key people to get it to make it happen. I'd started the project with somebody and who was also a manufacturing engineer. He wanted to move off to another project afterward. I'm not saying he felt the pressure, but I think he felt the pressure. But so it all kind of fell on me, and that's fine. Because at that point we had it rolling, and I'm like, yeah, I can do this, but it took a lot. And like I'm laying like half asleep in the parking lot in my car at like 4:45 in the morning. I had to be, through the gate by 5 a.m. And that's to start the day, to start this whole launch. And it was like, you got to hurry up and get this paint done. Oh, you got to touch this up. Oh, where's the insulation? Well, where's this hydraulic run to? I think we dropped a clip. Has anybody seen Tammy? Has anybody seen Tammy? Like that all day
A
long.
lot of hat fires going
It
on.
was like 5 until like 7:30 p.m. But we did it and it was successful. And to this day, it's still a huge addition to Cat's production line. And ask Kellen, I'll still see Cat vehicles out and I'm like, look at that bad boy. There's a
This
D6.
literally happened yesterday.
Yeah,
So yeah,
there's a D6 right. There's a D8 right there. And that was 10 years ago. I haven't been in a Cat for 10 years. But that was the longest day. But it proved out that, in the end, you're back slapping, the engineers that you worked your ass off with the last, 18 months on. And like we did it. And it's a good sense of pride. I wouldn't have given it up for the world.
nice. Moving on to a little bit of food talk.
Yay.
I was wondering, so I guess which job location maybe had the best like lunch spot nearby you could just dip out to real quick and get some food, or maybe on the way into work, like a breakfast spot or on the way home.
Yeah.
Either or.
Hand slap the table on that one too. Because
Easy.
as soon as you said it, because it was great because when I started, we got, more people behind us in manufacturing engineering at CAT because I was like the third one in the department and grew to like a department of 50 or more. But coincidentally, our friend Alex, our financial advisor, I onboarded him in 2007 at CAT. But I bring that up because, we didn't have specific places we went to in the Chicago suburbs. Like, JJ's was big for us. I don't think we had a Portillo's close. We've done that, but you don't have a lot of time to run to get lunches. Breakfast is easier, but you can't really run and get out for like a half hour. It's tough to find that time. I bring up breakfast being easier because this is why I say hand slap the table without a doubt. When I was working in Pulaski, Virginia, uh, when they relocated me down there, me and my buddy John Cornbread Maxwell, I gave him the nickname Cornbread because I might be a dick, but we discovered because we were there, of course, we're there at 6:30 in the morning. Shift starts at 7:30. We're there a little bit before the engineers and everybody. We discovered down the road a ways, I can't remember the name of the town. It wasn't Pulaski, but about 4 miles down, there was a place called the Dog House. And the Dog House sold fried bologna sandwiches. So you could get
I just had a fried bologna out here for the first time.
but they made a fried bologna breakfast sandwich on toasted white bread, a little bit of mayo, fried bologna, big slab of fried bologna, slice of American cheese, slice of tomato, butt slammed together. I could run that together. I would message Sean. I was like, "Hey, John, you want fried bologna?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Run down to get it."
Hell yeah.
He was an upper manager, so he couldn't leave. So he sent me. I ran down to get it. To and from, up in my seat, go get it, come back. 14 minutes it took me.
All
So
right.
so it was
That's
like,
kind of dangerous.
yeah, haul ass down the road in my Chevy Silverado and probably smiling with gnats in my teeth because the windows were open. But I'd roll up to the drive up and then like, give me two fried bologna. He's like, I know, light mayo. I'm like making fun of him, but he had the accent. But and then we'd turn it around and we'd be back down the road and me and we'd start the day in a happy place.
I mean, we're doing this recording actually over lunchtime, and that don't sound too bad right now, I'll be honest.
Oh yeah, it is lunchtime. Holy crap.
So for me, I don't go out to eat too much just because I mean shit's expensive nowadays. I'll be honest with you. I do meal prep
Yeah,
most all the time because also I'm just eating by myself. I'll torture myself. I'll eat the same thing for like 5 days in a row. I just don't care, and I'm pretty lazy about cooking there.
no problem.
But I do enjoy cooking. I was just wondering if you have a quick go-to a work prep meal that you would make that's one that kind of sticks in your head. Maybe is easy or just good.
Yeah, both. I mean, because like you mentioned, like, and I think I'm gonna, I hope I gave you the joy of cooking. I think we started with the homemade meatloaf when we with the phallic symbol made in ketchup on top. It's just a tradition. But so I mean, lunches are I think are easy because
I
like
love
you,
it.
I don't mind boxing up like the dinner I had on Sunday, and I'll like freeze portions of it, and I'm happy to pull them out of the freezer, and ooh, I got
Oh yeah.
meatloaf and mashed potatoes, or I got chili. But my favorite one that I learned when I was working at the tech company and commuting from Austin up north is sheet pan burritos, sheet pan breakfast burritos. So you just like, let's just say, what do you like in a breakfast burrito? I know you like your ham, so let's call it diced potatoes, diced, some green peppers,
Hmm.
onions, mushrooms. Put it all in a sheet pan and pour like, let's just say 10 beaten eggs over the top, and make a big sheet pan full of that bake. So it's an egg bake, and you get like eight like elongated triangles you can cut out of that. Wrap your tortilla around it, power slam a
I
piece of
know
cheese.
about that, and I make breakfast burritos quite often
And,
too.
and, pow- and put a piece of cheese on top of that, and you
Yeah,
roll it up and seal it, and now you got eight badass breakfast burritos frozen up.
yeah, take 4 or 5 during the work week, chuck some in the freezer for an emergency or just
Absolutely,
another
yeah.
time.
I've still got a couple left. I'm told you I left work 4 months ago, and it's like I've still got a couple in the freezer.
I got breakfast burrito in my freezer too, along with some other stuff. Yeah, I mean,
High tech. Those are high tech questions. Good for you.
yeah, pretty high tech. I don't know. I don't know if you've done an episode of cooking, but you're a very passionate chef as well.
Well, we used to, like I say, at the restaurant, I managed the kitchen. So,
All right. Well, getting on from food to a little bit of management and coworker questions,
ugh.
as inevitable. Who is one of your favorite managers or bosses, or superiors, perhaps you
Yeah,
worked for? And
yeah.
maybe what's a lesson or like a leadership style that you learned from them that you maybe
Well,
passed on?
I mean, because I've had a lot of great managers, and like you and I discussed either today or yesterday, is like I can only think of one that was really a noob. Just I'm going to leave him out of this because he was, but the rest were pretty good. But I think if out of all of them, Cornbread was a great manager. We're still, I mean, mostly we're still friends with all these,
Cornbread.
yeah, all these guys to this day. I'm still friends with. But I had a great mentor in Dan Herkelman, but he wasn't a manager. His last name was Herkelman. We called him, are you ready? The Herc. But
Incredible Herc.
I know, pretty great. But I'll go with Pat Ryan. Now, Pat Ryan was an Irish guy, probably
It's a
five eight.
classic.
Yeah, 5'8". He was the ops. He wasn't my manager. And he wasn't even my manager's manager. He was the operations manager for the building at Cat. Love Pat, and we had good talks together. He told me a story one time. Pat, I'm sorry if I'm giving this away, but he was impressed because he had a high level meeting with the Cat executives, and he was in the restroom urinating, and a Cat vice president pulled up next to him. He goes, Mitch, I was holding my dick next to a vice president. He's like, I can't. So it's funny. So Pat was like a real guy, but Pat was also not taking any crap. Like if, on the shop floor, we had, we let you, he let you, do what you will or do what you want as long as we met our objectives. But if you start pushing and, kind of sandbagging a little bit, you didn't want to get on Pat's bad side. Great guy, but don't get on Pat's bad side. Because I remember hearing about, there's everybody's cleaning up their areas and getting everything. They're like, what's wrong? Is Pat Ryan's coming over today? Like, okay, great. But I love Pat. He was a great guy. But Pat taught me, and we sat down and talked a few times. And he actually might have been a mentor as well. But he told me his approach toward manufacturing engineering and being successful at it. And it's very simple. He said, Tim, and he told me like this, so I'm going to do the impersonation. He goes, plan, 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 execute. Like, Jesus, Pat, don't do that shit. He's like, but the thing was, is like, then it came to, I knew of a quote from Abraham Lincoln, and it was, if you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'm going to spend the first four sharpening the axe. That's really all he meant. Like, if you prep ahead of time, once you're ready to execute, you can crush it. So he taught me that and taught me well,
Hey, prior,
and he scared the hell out of me.
yeah, no, proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. You got
Oh, good Lord. Is that
it.
a Marine thing?
Yeah, because the word piss is in it. So I mean, a lot of your jobs were out of necessity, it sounds like, and I know because you need money. That's a thing in the way that our society's set up. How much do you feel that like pride in what you're doing, manufacturing or producing, how does that affect your work ethic and maybe like your career choice?
That is actually a very good question because I picked the tech job because I had heard about this company and well, number one, they approached me and I was impressed, but and they had a rigorous interview process. I was surprised I made it. And when I did, because that friend, like I just pointed out again, Alex, that I onboarded a cat, he was actually working at this tech company that many years later, and he sent me a text, and I quote, and again, I apologize, Alex, but it said, "Pack your bags, bitch," which means I passed the interview process. But I picked it because I was excited because I see this company is just changing the way the world does things, and Cat is a great company, a little stodgy, very straightforward, very rigid, but incredible. See, you can hear me talking about it still. I'm still very proud of Cat and what they did. But as I worked more and more for this tech company, I had, for me, it was like nothing tangible. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, working at Cat, I produced, a $9 million tractor. My team did, and my production line did. And but at this tech company, it was just like make things go faster, or make it take less time, or find some way to make it more efficient,
Yeah.
or make it more. I'm fine. But I'll be honest, when I left Cat, I was also a manager of manufacturing engineers, which is for me is where I get my pride. Because when they made me a manager at this tech company, I was a manager manufacturer of tech deployment engineers, and just to help a next wave of people, like the next legacy of manufacturing or deployment engineers come up and grow into it. That's where I got the most pride. So that's what kept me going, like for the last 4.5, 5 years at this tech company was being that manager. Because I was still working deployment, but less and more as a manager of people. And that is a sense of pride. And I'm glad to say I'm still friends with my team today.
I noticed you didn't bring up peanut butter. Is there something you want to tell us?
Well, I'm telling you, it's still
It's a food fail, and I
I
really appreciate
learned
it, but
the Jif formula. When we were running Jif, that was a high priority because I would have, and don't get the weird connotation it's going to give you, but take a warm jar of Jif on my desk and dip a banana in it, and you'll get a better snack than that.
sounds great. I mean, I just chucked some Jif peanut butter in a smoothie this morning, so
Good call.
big fan. All right, kind of gonna wrap it up here. I have, if you could go back and talk with your 18-year-old self, which I know is way later than you really entered the
Whew.
workforce, um, what kind of advice would you give young Mitch before he entered the workforce and started jamming away for 42
Well,
years?
I would tell him because that was 1980. I would say heads up, in about 20 years, there's going to be a thing called the internet. Start prepping now. But no, I mean, because like I say, it's if there's anything, it's to have a choice. I think it's easier to have like, you've seen like the people that say if you want to, do something in life, all you do is visualize it, and then the things you do year over year is how to get to that goal.
Good point. Yeah.
But like I say, I did role by role instead of one goal. So I think, instead of my role as an 18-year-old kid, making that kind of money that I needed to, or my role as a father, then my role as a single father, and then my role now as an empty nester, and then my role as a retiree, doing things instead, like maybe have one goal to get something you want to get great at or be like you're doing, I think. And then like the benchmarks you need to knock off ahead of time. That's how you progress your life, not role by role, but toward one goal.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, when I was in the Marines, I was just like, this is what we're doing. They're going to tell me where to go anyway. I don't care. And they're going to tell me what schools to go to and what training I need to do. But yeah, when I got out, I said, hey, I want to do this distilling thing, or it was brewing. But
Yeah, and
I,
I envy that too. You start out with brewing, then you saw distilling, you're like, let's course correct.
yeah, and I didn't have, a resume to back it. So I filled that in as necessary. And I mean, I kind of always have like a goal in mind and work towards that. But we'll see how it changes as I progress in my lifelong.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, like what I've learned, I learned from you and Bellingham and more, I think in the last 2 days of the process for producing bourbon and whiskeys and spirits. The process is fascinating, straightforward, but you can see how you can create and stand out, and that's what I would challenge you to do as well. You say like the Marine Corps sent. set a course path for you. And obviously, a very successful one because you're a very successful Marine and special ops Marine. But now it's like you got this path in front of you, and don't be afraid. Sure, learn what you're doing, but be the standout. Because you sometimes like humility is great. I had one supervisor at CAT when I moved to his team. He said, Tim, like or Mitch, whatever, what do you call you today? Uh, what I like to teach my people, the first thing is humility. I said, Eric, that's all I'm giving away. I said, I'm pretty humble. And he looked at me, he goes, No, you're not. So
I'm the most humble.
yeah,
What are you talking about?
yeah. So just saying that, you're not humble. So
You got
I really appreciate humility. I think it's important, but don't let humility block you from realizing that you're that good. You can be that person. So I'm gonna challenge you to do that as well now.
And we're going to challenge the listeners as well in their own life.
Yes, yes, by all means.
Because we haven't forgot about you out there uh, behind the fourth wall. All right, so you are officially retired. It's happened. There's, ominous dominus, tables been slapped.
Ooh.
But I know you're not really ready to commit to being fully retired. You're too much of an industrious person for that. Um, and you sent me some job applications, but what kind of part-time jobs are maybe Mitch looking for in your quote-unquote retirement?
Well, you saw when I first, I mean, like day two after I was officially retired, I started applying for uh, FEMA,
Yeah,
federal.
you didn't wait really long.
Yeah, I want to have an impact still, and I still want to have an impact. And I thought FEMA would be awesome, to help people, and then I realized it was a government institution and I can't get in. But I had already taken training too, by the way. But
Okay.
then I look at, Texas Search and Rescue. That's also, that's pretty serious. And the people who do that are well skilled and experienced professionals, and they need to be successful at what they do. People rely on them for that. So I want to do something where I can have an impact. Sure, you want to have fun. I mean, it's okay. Like, like say at age 63.
Yeah, you can do it at some point. You can have fun. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's
Not that I
fully,
haven't, and a lot of,
yeah, for
I've
sure.
had a lot of fun along the way, but um, I'm not going to be the one who's going to, jump into my Jeep and take off for a 14-day road trip because, hey, I'm not working anymore. I need purpose in life, and I'm not sure exactly what that is right now. Um, I still want to help people, but let's face it, I live in Austin, Texas. It's a fun place to live. I would not mind at all. Like I've been looking, like I used to be in, I don't know if it's going to surprise anybody, but I used to be in radio. I was a disc jockey on weekends in Streator, Illinois. WIZZ AM 1250, Gold Rock for the Illinois Valley.
The Wiz?
The
That'd
wi-
be
I was on the whiz.
hell yeah.
Yeah, but I would like to get back in the radio. I wouldn't mind that at all. I would
You're in a way right now. No.
I would love, I mean, I'm going to keep Mitch going, the podcast going. Ideally, if Mitch takes off, I mean, I think Mitch can also help people. That's why I say, take a look at the small, I mentioned it, Mitch wrote a book. It's a small book. It's the best of pamphlet, but it's like just like 10 life lessons that I've learned. Hopefully it helps you out so you don't have to go through the same garbage I did. But that's a simple way of putting it. But hey, it's only $8. But and
Small plug.
$5 for the audio or for the electric for the ebook. But something to help people. I just don't want to, fade. Still want to be physically active, of course. I still want to do something fun, but I would like to help some people. I might find a way to support our veterans, support them some way, but I think you would probably know how to do that better than I certainly. But
Booze.
something, I'm not sure.
Making booze. I'm doing it.
But yeah, you're helping veterans. Oh, and by the way, real quick, I told people I'd stop doing this, but it's the last time I promise. If you go to the merch store, you go to mitchwonders.com, hit the shop button. It'll open up there's a two-slide merch page. So the top slide is the two buttons. You can go into the merch store or you can buy a book. But if you go below that, there's a video or a visual of the items we got for sale in the merch store. One I want to make note of is a t-shirt at the top I designed specifically for this purpose. It's different from all the other ones, but every penny made from the sale of that shirt goes to support the Veteran Support Foundation. Veterans, so every penny of that shirt sold goes to our veterans. So if you want to help us out, if for no other reason for that, you can go in the merch store and pick that bad boy up. But hop into the merch store, take a look around. There's some good fall items in there, and this might surprise you. There's a Mitch Wonders bourbon glass.
Get out of town.
No, it's a nice one too, I think.
Shocking. It all ties together. Well, I mean, that about wraps it up as quickly as you possibly could. But I mean, I hope the listeners, maybe take this time to reflect on, where they've been in their own careers, perhaps in their own laboring job, you know, and maybe where they want to end up, and just learn a little bit more about Mitch as well. So if you have any questions, I'm sure he'd love to hear about them from you. And I hope you enjoyed the little chat we had today.
Yeah, and thanks for I mean, you didn't pressure cook me too much, so that was good. Some good questions, and hopefully people got some a little some inputs they can use, like if they're still like say 35, 40, 50, still got their career going, maybe that'll help you.
You'll be working for years yet, so buckle up. It ain't over.
Buckle up,
You may
Nancy.
never stop.
All right, man. Well, Kellen, thanks for having me today.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Thanks for sitting down with me in Bardstown, Kentucky, and thanks for the tours of the area.
of course. You're welcome back anytime.
All right, man. Watch yourself. I'll be behind you.
See you soon.
Later, buddy.